Hey, I'm Chris Sixkiller. So glad to have you here.
I'm Ryan Mallory. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, super. So we're going to break out. Hey, by the way, thanks for getting my book or taking my book and being inspired by it.
And I'll put the cover up here.
Thank you.
I enjoy this. There's
Appreciate
only
that.
so many books that I say that with, and I only read so many books.
And you're not just saying that because I'm here in the room, right?
I would say, well, you know, from some of our phone conversations, that book and some of the chapters in it have come at a good time in my life.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I think I kind of use it as actually my intro to myself. You know, it's a little different writing than I think most people would actually recognize me as. So it's been kind of fun, you know. Yeah, so it'll be fun if they want to pick it up and read it. And I'll even, you know, one lucky person, the first one that gets a hold of you, how about that? Maybe they'd send you an email.
You're trying to make them all contact me?
Yeah. First one that comes in.
Before.
First one that comes in after they watch this sends you a message and or email or whatever.
I'm in.
I will give them a free book.
I'm in. Cool. I'll put the Amazon link in there too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. But
we're going to talk about something you were telling me about called no limits thinking.
okay. You know, and I brought some notes. And really, the notes there's not much to it, but I call it, well, actually, let me back up a little bit, because where did this message come from is my street ministry. And it's kind of a staple of what I teach. I may teach 1 step, 2 steps, or all 6 steps. But with the homeless, whenever we would go out, I would share a message of encouragement or, you know, just something trying to break them free, give them a little more hope, a little more encouragement. But yeah, it was you know, and I've got some notes here, but are you ready for no limits thinking? You know, because, and I think the question.
And this doesn't just apply to the ministry.
Oh, no.
Or homeless folks. These are like life skills.
Yes, absolutely. Life skills, and you can apply 1, 2, 3, or like I said, I call it the 6 stones to breaking free of your limitations.
Yeah.
You know, and it's actually taken from an ancient book. We can keep it neutral. An ancient book that helps guide us through the Bible. Yeah, from the Gospel of Mark, though. Great story in there about the blind beggar Bartimaeus. You might be familiar with it, or maybe others might. But fantastic story. But there's 6 steps that took place for him to break free and find healing, basically. And so, but yeah, if you want to hear them, I'll be happy to. Let's talk, though, dialogue a little bit, because it's kind of cool. Yeah. But the first one, so the scene is Jesus is entering, right? Disciples all around him, people are swarming, etc. But there's a man, Bartimaeus, that was placed there, you know, so because he was blind. And so he was led there. He's standing on the side and he's shouting. You know, everybody wants to see the Messiah, the healer, and so on and so forth. And but as Jesus is coming through, so many other voices, and this is for me kind of a key point, because we have so many other voices that are calling our attention, our name, and you know, I mean, just wanting to distract us. We see that hugely in our world today. You know where we're at. So. But what ends up happening is that Jesus ends up saying, hey, you know, the people around him are saying, you know, shut up, you know, what are you doing? He's got better things to do than to deal with you lowly blind man, you know, type of situation, you man with problems. That's majority of us, right? Yeah.
All of us, are you're lying to yourself, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we are also limited if we actually would just realize that. We all need something bigger, something greater to grab a hold of. It's just, what are we going to grab a hold of? You know, there's so much negative we can grab a hold of too. Yeah. So how do we, you know, spring forward with some hope or encouragement and try to stay positive even in the worst of times? You know, so yeah. But you know, I would encourage you, if you want to read about it, you can check it out even, you know, through the Gospel of Mark there. But the first one was identify your limitations. Identify your limitations. Without identifying what is wrong with you, what you're limited in, and why, and asking these critical questions.
Where do you start?
Where do you start?
Their favorite song quote. I told my wife someday it'll probably be a tattoo someplace. But in this game of life, we're all brothers. Rehabilitate before the others. That's the Offspring. It kind of just says, everybody's messed up. Until you admit that you have some limitations and issues, you can't get through them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, and that's that proverbial, confess.
Yeah.
Just say, you know what, I'm weak, I need.
It actually feels great to get it off your chest.
Yes. I was talking to somebody about prosperity, today and money, and finance. And I said, but you need to be specific. God deals in the specifics. And I mean, some, let's leave God out of it, call it the universe, what have you. But when, I remember this one, so not this guy, but another guy, and this is my story, is he was like, yeah, I was praying, I needed more money. I just needed some more money. And then I was going to the grocery store, I looked on the ground, there's $1. There's a dollar bill. Did he get more money?
Yep.
He's like, yeah, but I wanted $100,000. I didn't want just $1. Then you better speak it.
You didn't ask for that.
Identify your limitation. But my lack is finances right now. I need, Lord, whatever, but identify it. So the first little nugget or stone there was identify your limitations.
Athletes do something along those lines.
Yes.
Maybe not even spiritual, but you see the guy that's going to pole vault, and even when other people are running down there and performing or competing, he's picturing himself making the highest jump of his life.
Already envisioned
it. He's embracing it. It's top of mind awareness for him, and then he makes his run, and those are usually the better runs.
Yes. Yeah. In my book, you ever see The Last Samurai?
Yeah.
The movie,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's Too Many Minds is one of my chapters, and it kind of references, The Last Samurai. But that was a powerful little scene there. He's getting his butt kicked, and the young teenage boy comes up, and you got too many mind. Too many minds. So envision, and then he started envisioning, even seeing the swings and the poles and the things coming at him in order to defeat it. Yeah. So
and what you think about, you become. If you can't picture yourself not needing
that's
money
why my ears
or not
are growing.
having financial things,
I'm a donkey.
You're a donkey.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes I'm a donkey too, or so I'm told.
The other end.
Another guy.
Yeah.
It would really seem like you may be positively envisioning and praying for the fact that you won't have financial difficulties in the future. If you can envision what that's like in your mind and be subtle, you're obviously, maybe you are, but I'm probably not living in Trump's tower and buying the building from him. What I envision is pretty stable and
good
normal,
for you.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
So identifying your limits, I can definitely.
Yeah. So and in that story, the reason why is so Jesus finally says, "You guys go get him," because he was over there yelling and shouting, and people are telling him to shut up, etc. And so they're like, "Go get him." But it's really, as the story unfolds in the next steps, it's really neat to see. Do you not think that the Messiah, Jesus, knew what was wrong with him, right? And then he brings him over and says, "What's wrong with you? What do you want? Identify your limitations." You know what? I'm blind. What do you mean? Because sometimes we don't speak it because we think you should know. You should know what's wrong with me.
There's a tendency for big, strong men and women in society to not let anybody know they're fragile.
Yeah.
Because you're stronger if you're not fragile.
Yeah. No.
I'm not buying it.
No.
I think you're stronger
I'm
if
pretty
you talk about your issues.
I'm pretty fragile.
Everybody is.
Yeah. Number 2 was stop listening to the wrong voices. We kind of already hit on that one. We all have too many voices, whether it's even our mom or our pastor, our president, or
even yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's a great one. Yeah. No,
right?
that's.
I think.
Oh. That's huge.
Without having any kind of schizophrenia issue, I have different voices of my own that are like, Ryan, you should do this, or you shouldn't do that, or whatever those things are when you're thinking about them in your mind. You can really hold yourself back with those.
Oh, totally. And, again, not to continually, but since we have my book here.
That's all right.
But it kind of actually, it's funny because there's a lot of that. There's, I don't remember who the quote was from, but it is a quote in there. But if there's no enemy within, the enemy can do you no harm.
Yeah.
So.
Golfers display it the most, I think. An excellent golfer that's having a bad day, they even say, oh, he's stuck in his mind. He will not even be competitive towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
It all falls apart if he's stuck in his head.
Yes, absolutely. That's why sometimes the most powerful moment is to walk away.
Yeah.
Have you ever lost something and you looked everywhere? Yeah. It is nowhere to be found, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, and you give it up, you walk away, and then you come back and it's like, what? It was right there the whole time.
Yeah.
Why didn't you see it? But yeah, sometimes we just got to walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And number 3 was get bolder with what you want. Because if you think about blind beggar Bartimaeus, he's over there shouting. And the reason I think it's comical, it's really a comical story for me. I find humor in a lot, though. Right. But he's over there shouting, I want, whatever he was shouting anyway. I want to see you again. I want to see you again. And people are telling him to shut up. And it says that he got louder and louder, and until finally he was noticed. And you know what? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah, right. And that is what we see.
I have a personal history in being a squeaky wheel and getting louder when my squeaks don't seem to matter.
For some reason, I think I can see that. You can get pretty loud.
I do get pretty loud sometimes. Generally and hopefully, and I pray for the right reasons.
Yeah. You we got the ladies that actually record here.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel gets, those ladies are doing a powerful, wonderful job at speaking up.
Got a lot of people, a lot of help by speaking up, and made a bunch of people that thought they were completely alone no longer feel alone. And that alone, if we accomplish nothing
else,
it helps some people.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But there's some good things on the horizon, I think.
Oh yeah, nice. Oh, the secret. Yeah, excellent. And number 4, the 4th stone was be specific. And again, we already touched on that a little bit, but when Jesus brought him over, he's like, well, hey, what do you want? I'm sure he's like, I want to see you again.
Yeah.
No, really, what do you want?
Sure.
I want to visually see again, whatever, your if the more specific in color we can bring into it, I think the more powerful. Have you ever done a vision board?
I know about them, but I have never done one.
You have not? No. I want to teach you, Grasshopper.
I'd love to.
Oh, I think they're powerful.
All right.
And I've got some stories of vision boards, and that might be actually a fun session. I don't know if anybody else interested in vision boards. Yeah, it's a big thing that you as you start compiling. Yeah. Anyway, I won't break that out, but it'd be a fun thing.
It is a very similar process to something I do in big business consulting.
Okay.
So I don't even know if people know, but my day job is a marketing firm where I help businesses grow. 300 and some businesses here. People don't even know because there's people behind the scenes that do those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Web development and strategy and trying to get them more meat and potatoes on the table, really.
Oh, yeah.
Which works out pretty well, and I've been in that industry for a long time. But a business that doesn't have a map to a plan and hasn't figured out its own vision, I do some of that, and I have a friend that's very good at drawing out what the vision is that the business owner has never actually laid out for themselves.
Yeah.
It's some similar stuff to a vision board, just from a business perspective.
Oh, yeah, totally. No, it's totally, the same, different. There's some different nuances there. Vision board, it could be from the simplest of, I want black truck, custom wheels, chrome running boards, and you put it on a board on the wall and you leave it.
Yeah.
It happened to me. That's why, that was one of them. I break it up into 6 quadrants. It's kind of 6 visions of things that I want to manifest in my life. And
manifesting and goal setting.
And
goal setting. I talk to other people about goal setting.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm very good at it, but it seems to help some people to actually have some kind of order and process to laying down some goals so that they can look at them like that truck on the wall every day in the face and look at those goals they set and take some steps forward every day towards each of them, because you're going to complete one. It's going to feel awesome. You might get to mark it off the list.
Yeah. And you made a good point, but a goal without steps, as you called it, right, is just a dream.
Yep.
So without an action plan, without, whatever, I want to achieve this, but then to have those
what are the
steps
pieces
in there.
That make it happen?
Yeah.
And what do you have to do to complete each of those?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a fun little session to talk out, and maybe they could watch you do your vision board. At least set it up.
That sounds deep and personal.
That's very it is very personal. Yeah, it is very personal. So, but the beauty part is you just leave it. When I did mine, put it on the office wall, and honestly never looked at it. It was 5 years later before when one of the last things on it. Now, all of it didn't happen, but as I'm sitting in my office and I'm looking and I look up on the wall, I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to a Tony Robbins, it was my bucket list. That was one of my visions, to go to Tony Robbins and listen to Wim Hof, and he was one of the teachers then, Iceman. Yeah. Anyway, and do that. I did that. Oh my gosh, I kayaked across the San Juan Islands with some buddies. I did that. I was on there, and then got to the truck, and it was like my truck caught on fire. This had to take place. All of these things. I have that exact same truck that is on my vision board, sitting out there right now.
Yeah,
that was the truck,
nice
right?
Truck.
And I'm a Chevy guy. I had on my vision board a Ford. Sorry, Ford, but
my grandparents were Chevy,
I like my
Chevy dealers.
I like my Chevy better.
My grandparents were Chevy dealers, and I owned an Expedition.
That's funny. Yeah. Did they shun you?
Grandpa had already passed away.
Oh, sorry.
No, my grandmother didn't. She rode in it a bunch of times. She thought it was nice.
She was all right with it.
She thought it was nice, and I think their values were more towards getting a reliable vehicle that you liked and were comfortable and those kind of things. So I don't think they would really. Yeah. My grandfather liked little cars because he didn't like to spend money on gas, even though he owned a Chevrolet dealership. He'd drive a little car or a little truck and whatnot. I think they were pretty thirsty, and maybe the only thing they might have had against it was a gas hog.
Oh, yeah.
But it raised several kids and their friends and that kind of stuff. It was a good thing.
If I could add one thing on the vision board, I would add that it would be a fuel-efficient diesel.
There you go. Right?
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of, but
I know they're coming out with one that's a hybrid, electric and diesel. It's supposed to have enough power. We'll see.
I heard that. Yeah, I don't know if I believe it, but
believe that when I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. The fifth stone or step was get up and take some action. So, and that was kind of what during the story of the blind beggar. Jesus, what's your problem? Who are you listening to? Listening to the wrong voices, maybe. Get bolder with what you want, and he did. He started speaking louder until they came over and got him, the disciples. But then he says, okay, now let's be specific. What do you want? But number 5 was get up. And he says, okay, then, you got it. Because you've asked, you've received, you spoke it, you were bold, now get up and take some action. As we were just talking about. You can have a goal, but without a plan of action, it's just a dream. So, so get up and take some action.
Even dreams die without action.
And so true. Yeah. The last one was always be teachable, because he said, okay, get up, take some action, and basically follow me.
That one held me back for a while. You get to a point where you have a lot of experience and know a lot of stuff, and you're maybe not listening as closely as you used to when you were younger and you wanted to absorb everything.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, I started listening a lot closer than I really knew I was. And what I don't learn from people when I listen closely and don't just move on with my day and think that I already know what they're going to tell me or already have heard what they're going to tell me because gems come out of those conversations, and sometimes they're not
Right.
at all what I expected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and it's so important, and I think even in these times, I mean, we see our mental health, facilities are full, and we see a lot of mental health issues on the streets, but in homes, everywhere. Mental health is such a wide range and vast, expansion of what that means exactly. But always be teachable. Find a teacher. Who is that teacher? It could be grandma, grandpa, it could be mom, dad. But I really encourage everybody to get a third party, get a coach, or get a
Mentoring.
counselor
I've always
or
been
a
involved
mentor.
in mentoring.
Yeah.
With teenage kids for one organization at one point. Me and my wife were doing that, and then as my kids and other kids got older, I like to mentor young business people or people that want to have a business. They might not even be young, but they're young to being in business, and I like to introduce them to people, and I like to help them with their strategy, and I just enjoy mentoring people in that way. But there's lots of ways you can mentor for sure. And if you don't have mentors, I have a lot of mentors in my life. I would consider you one.
Yes.
Ditto. Some people in my life that I consider mentors are they're way younger than me, and some people are way older than me, and some people have more experience, and some people actually have less, and they mentor me in certain ways.
On a certain level, yeah.
Depending on what I'm going through or thinking about, I reach out to people. Just like, I reached out to you recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I reach out to people that I think would have words of wisdom or experiences for me that would help in that specific situation. Line yourself with mentors. You can't go wrong there. It's people that are willing to talk to you, that care about you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, and reading books that could be teachable, readers are leaders.
Yeah.
So yeah, find a good book, read it, get inspired, get encouraged. Yeah, it's so important, to feed that.
And that is not taken up by just internet reading, because I do tons of internet reading.
Oh, yes.
As part of my career, as part of things that I like, as part of politics. You can't get as much as you can from a book that somebody sat down and put time and effort and thought into, and they're complete thoughts. They're not a meme. They're not a paragraph. They're not an article. They're not a short story. You're actually reading the complete thought, and you'll get way more out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're going to do this a little backwards, by the way. We didn't shop talk, forging hope. And that is such a thing I want to capitalize on. That's kind of our goal, vision is really just how do we give hope to people, encouragement, and
more hope in the community.
Yeah.
More hope amongst men. Ladies too, but sometimes you have to forge that hope. It's not just out there for the grabbing. If you want hope in your life, we hope these conversations kind of lead you to some of that.
Yeah.